Hello, hello, hello. Looks like it's just you and me for the minute, Enzo. Oh, no.
When
She's
you
right.
don't post it until the last second, that's what you get. Nobody
Oh,
knows
no,
the
it's all right.
show's going
Look,
to
look. That's
happen.
pretty well, see, that's the difference too. Hey to everybody that might be watching. If I do post it a day before or whatever, same thing. So I thought, well, try posting that I'm going live just before I go live and see if that makes a difference. But a lot of people don't get the notifications either, which is a bit of a bummer. So what are you going to do? Not much you can do. I'll give everybody a few minutes to get in. So Enzo's had an interesting weekend. Would you like to, before we are going to talk about the subject matter on the thing, but just giving everybody time to hop in. What about where were you this weekend, Enzo?
Yesterday, I was with the gang down in Sedan, Kansas, at the Greg Theater. First opened up in I think it was 1936. It has been a few different things over the years, but it's back to being a theater again. They still show movies and do plays and stuff like that there. And it certainly, I won't say it's like the most haunted place on earth or anything like that, but it certainly has a few things going on there. And we experienced a little bit of that last night. So we had, for our first time, where we had invited people in from the outside to join us in our investigation. And I think we had 5 or 6 people, and including Julie, which is a regular in our chat. She got to come down and visit with us for a few hours, and I think she had a good time.
Oh, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yes, well, I've had a very uneventful. Oh, look at that. Wow, Tanya, thank you. Thank you so much. Awesome. Love you. Still remember fondly taking you out whale watching. That was awesome. Yeah, Tanya, one of my regular subscribers, came to Queensland, and I picked her up and we went out on a boat and watched the big whales. They were blue whales. Yeah, big. It was awesome. I just thought, I woke up this morning with a headache and I thought, oh, God. And I went and took some painkillers. And then I got on the computer, and the first story that came up was the one I've made my thumbnail on, which it was Donald Trump signing an executive order. And I was really thrilled about it. Enzo doesn't know anything about it. He's like, what? But basically, I'll play a little clip in a minute. So I might even be able to find where Joe says, is this it? Just a minute. Oh, no. Well, anyway, Joe had sent Donald Trump a text message about a drug called Ibogaine, Ibogaine. And it's a drug that's made from a plant. So it's not a chemical thing. It's a plant-based drug. And yes, it's a psychedelic, if you want to get particular about it. I'll explain it to you, Tanya. So the drug itself has proven over a few years or more, people use it illegally, because in America, when and Joe does explain this, if I can find the clip, I'll play it. But in America in the 70s, when Nixon was still president, they introduced a bill that made drugs like this illegal. And it was meant to, at the time, I think it was because hippies and uprisings, and it was just at the end, the Vietnam War, all that sort of stuff. And they wanted to sort of, I guess they wanted to annoy or quell people that were standing up against the war and that movement at the time. So they put this thing in and said it was all illegal drugs, right? Couldn't use them. So the use of these drugs was therefore illegal, and other drugs to help people with PTSD PSTD. You don't want an STD with that, and anxiety, all sorts of things. They had to rely on drugs made by the drug companies, so your antidepressants and all that sort of thing. So Joe has been talking about this particular drug and others, but ibogaine, the last, probably I've noticed he's talked about it more the last year, because after one treatment with this drug, a lot of the people that took it, which he knows of personally in some instances, took one treatment of this ibogaine, and the trauma that they experienced and all that sort of thing, they dealt with it, and it was actually helping with their post-traumatic stress. Okay, 2 treatments, and they were on the mend. It was really helping them mentally. And of course, though, they're not allowed to use this drug. It's illegal. But when they went for help, as usual, oh, here, take that antidepressant, or here, take that. So it seems to be curing people, or at least assisting them with the post-traumatic stress disorder. But also, the other thing that's been found is it's people that have an addiction to opioids. So, you know, you go to the doctor. Matthew Perry, for example, is the first person who came to mind when I read this morning. Matthew Perry was addicted. What killed him in the end was he was addicted to painkillers, opioids. And in the end, that wasn't enough. And that's why he did that other drug that was helpful, and probably if he had continued taking that particular drug in a proper way clinically, he might still be with us. Who knows? But anyway, people like Matthew that were addicted, and there's plenty of them. I've got my own personal family member that's addicted to opioids, and it's ruined their life. So this particular drug, ibogaine, again, 1 treatment usually does it. 2 treatments, 100%. No longer needing, the addiction to the opioids is gone. It's just gone. So Joe wrote to President Trump, and he said, hey, this is the situation, 1 or 2 treatments. He sort of basically explained that it's an excellent drug and it can do this. Trumpy apparently just wrote back, oh, sounds good. Do you want me to get it FDA approved? Let's do it. And so that's what's happened. So Trumpy has, he didn't obviously just do it straight away. He says himself in the press conference that he spoke to other people, about this particular drug. What can you tell me about it? Joe says this. They've all come back and said, yeah, it's harmless. It's not going to hurt you. It is what it is. They saw nothing wrong with it. So he's asked everybody, signed the executive order to look into the drug and get it FDA approved. And that made me so happy, because I thought, you know what, for all those people out there suffering, especially veterans, but then other people that have been hard done by and just given bloody drugs and told whatever, people with addiction to the opioids, finally something's going to happen that will help them and get them off of the opioids and get them functioning again normally. How it works, I don't know. It's just, I've got a little thing here. Like it is, Tanya's just gone into Google for me. No worries. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's the name of the plant that it's in. Yeah, so that's what it's been looking into. But Joe's done a lot more. Anyone who watches Joe Rogan knows that he's into all these psychedelics and things, and believes that there's more out there to help you than there is just the chemical drugs you get from the drug makers. So the addiction treatment, which I've just sort of touched on there with the opioids, cocaine, and alcohol dependence. So if you're an alcoholic, there are reports indicating it can prevent relapse for extended periods. So I guess what would happen is you'd go take this drug, it helps you, and then in the future, hopefully you don't need to go and get any treatment, nothing, you deal with everything. But obviously then this is indicating that if you do have a future problem, just go back and work through it. Let's see. So yeah, it's apparently the mechanism of the action. So how it works, it affects the multiple neurotransmitters. So all of those, the serotonins and all that sort of thing, metabolized into a word that's really hard to say, but norabogane, which remains in the system and potentially helps long term. So instead of it, like with most drugs you take nowadays, you got to take one the next day. It's got a window of it, how it works. And if you miss one, blah, 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 this one will stay in the system for an extended amount of time, which means you don't have to go back and have it straight away and everything. But I just thought, wow, finally, because this week's been a crappy week of news, I thought finally something nice happens. And, I know people don't like Trumpy. I'm not one of them. I don't always agree with Trumpy on everything, but this is just fantastic. Yes, hello to all the little lurkers. So let me just see if I can get. I'll just bear with me. RFK, where are you, Joey? If they do talk about it, I will put a link in the description. I will put a link in the description down below later. But and you can go to the full press conference. Now, is that where Joey's talking? I think that's where Joey's talking. So I'll share this up. Man, my skills. All right, let me know if you can hear it. You should be able to.
You deserve for helping heal this nation. It is my joy to deliver these good tidings unto the meek, which will hopefully bind up the brokenhearted, proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to all who are bound. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you.
I missed that part.
I want to tell everybody how this happened.
Yeah,
I sent President Trump some information. We have a gigantic opiate problem in this country, obviously. In 2024, more than 80,000 people died of overdoses. It's a horrible number. And there's more than 5 million people that are addicted to opiates right now in this country. With one dose of Ibogaine, more than 80% of people are free of that addiction. With 2 doses, it's more than 90%. I sent him that information. The text message came back, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. It was literally that quick. These drugs are illegal not because they're harmful. They're illegal because of the 1970 Controlled Substances Act that was passed by the Richard Nixon administration. They did it to target the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement. It's not because these drugs harm people. And for 56 years, we've lived under those terrible conditions. We're free of that now. We're free of that now. Thanks to all these people that we see next to me, and thanks to President Trump.
I want to thank you. We all respect Joe, and he's a little bit more liberal than that's okay. I have a lot of friends that are liberal, but Joe is an amazing guy, and he wrote me a little note about this, and I had it checked out. I didn't just do it. I had it checked out. I went to Bobby and Oz. I went to some of the people that work for you, Real Pros, and everybody came back with the same answer. You know, normally they'll come back, because this happens a lot. I have a couple of them like that where they're not sure. It's like, you know, it goes 2 ways. This thing, everybody thought it was incredible. And I told Bobby, I said, Bobby, let's just do it and get Oz involved, and it's going to get done so quickly. And you guys did a great job. Would you like to say something else?
Mr. President, I want to thank Matt Zorn, who's
That'll do. I don't need to listen to Dr. Oz. But so that's how it happened, thanks to Joe Rogan. Love him or hate him, I mean, that's fantastic news, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Enzo? I think it's great.
Yeah, obviously, what's in place now and has been for like the last 30 to 50 years isn't working very well, where it just leads down this totally different path of addiction to just the buckets of pills that get shoveled at people, where if you have an alternative that seems to be working for a lot of people, why not at least give it a try? What's the harm there, really? Versus what ends up happening where you just keep taking more and more of the buckets of pills that they shovel at you, and it just ends horribly still.
And it does. Yeah. And as I say, I would dare say I'd be surprised if people watching now don't have someone, if not themselves, don't have someone that has had issues with addiction. So I personally, the only thing I seem to be addicted to most times is chocolate. I personally have never had an addiction, but I've got a close family member that has. My own mother was an issue, and not with anything. It was all prescription drugs. So all things that they had gone to the doctor for and said, oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I'm so anxious. Oh, I've got pain. And the doctors just write these prescriptions. And sure, they do the spiel. Now, back in the day when my mum and my other family member became, dependent upon these drugs, back in that day, the doctors would write you a prescription for anything. Do you know what I mean? And they wouldn't necessarily warn you of the consequence of taking this particular drug. Things have improved to a point now where people do think about going to get some mental health therapy. Back then, though, going to see somebody about my mental health, like it was very different. It was really different. It was shameful almost. You wouldn't tell anybody.
Yeah. It's like, they're cuckoo crazy. I don't want to hire that person to work in my factory or wherever.
Yep.
It was a ender to the point where people wouldn't say anything then, because it's like they didn't want to get that label thrown on them.
Yep. And you would just go to the doctor, and the doctor would write these prescriptions for the drugs, which in themselves have terrible side effects for some. Like, for example, it's known now, but it wasn't always known. You might have a kid at the age of 16, 17 struggling. Geez, I think every person struggles at 15, 16 with life. I mean, that's just a horrific time of your life with all those changes coming in. But doctors would write prescriptions for antidepressants. But the problem is those antidepressants, they work on the brain. They change the way the brain thinks. And some of these kiddies were taking their lives because of the drug, not because of why they initially went to get it, but because the drug enhanced it. It didn't fix it. And that was because their little brains were still growing, and the drugs affect little brains differently than other people, like older people. So if this drug, if what President Trump did today, if anything, helps people worldwide, like gets to the point where, here in Australia, other countries, the UK, etc., go, okay, well, he did. That's usually what happens once America says yes. Still takes us a couple of years to get our act together because, bloody hell, Australia's a bloody slow. But
well, I mean, they're playing the long game where they're like, all right, the Americans are going to approve drug X. Let's see how it affects their system. If people start dropping like flies or going crazy in the streets, obviously we won't follow that path. But if it turns out great, hey, we'll bring it online 3 or 4 years later.
And that's what happens here generally, and which is a bit of a shame because obviously this particular drug's already got a bit of a you're getting waved at.
My fans,
But yeah, you know, because depression, anxiety, addiction, all that crap, it's shitful. No one should have to continue on with that. No one should be told. And another thing people don't realize, which is interesting to me, long-term usage of antidepressants at a point they do nothing. They absolutely do nothing. You start taking them. The whole point of an antidepressant is you start taking them, your mood improves. And while your mood is improving, you should really seek some other help, you know, talk about what's gotten you to that point in the first place, and continue to take those drugs for a short term, like 1 year maximum. But there's people out there who have been on these drugs for years and
Most of
don't
their lives.
understand.
And that's the primary issue with it. And there's been plenty of investigative reports into a lot of, well, yeah, that's kind of amazing. But there's been a lot of investigative reports over some of the, you know, the big pharma drug companies going to local doctors and saying, hey, if you push our drug as the new cure-all, we'll give you a little kickback. We'll give you a little taste of some of the money that's pouring into their pockets. And so that incentivizes the local doctor to, hey, maybe you should try this brand X, whatever it is, and just keep shoveling it into them. And it's one of those things where you would think on an individual scale that, you know, these are doctors, they've taken up this profession and want to take care of people and things like that. But when you start having millions of dollars waved in front of your face, that's a little too much to resist, to where you can certainly pay off your own bills and pay off your own student loans and everything else for like a young budding doctor just starting their new practice. That's tough. That's a tough thing to let slide by when all you got to do is just slide a few extra bottles of pills to somebody that obviously needs it. They're very disturbed, and this surely will help them.
Yeah.
Years and years later, it just compounds into a nightmare to where they're not even the same person anymore, because of the chemical changes going on in their brains.
And I do suggest anybody who might be watching who is on an antidepressant, get the name of your antidepressant and you go to MIMS, MIMMS. All right, MIMS is the book. You can access it online. It's the book that nurses, doctors use to. If I'm going to give you a drug now and I'm not 100% sure on, you've got some other drugs that you're taking, I'll go to my MIMS and I'll have a look and go, I can't really give you that because it's contraindicated with that drug that you're on now. Or what's that? You've got a rash. MIMS. Oh yes, it says that this particular drug can. So that's the actual book that doctors, nurses, etc. refer to in medical things.
But to be fair, that's like, for most people, for a lot of cases, we're like, oh, if you have this rash or you have this thing, taking this for a period of time until you can get your shit figured out. Less than a year usually, and with counseling and a bunch of other stuff for, a lot of the mental stuff. Obviously if it's a rash or something like that, if it doesn't go away, you have to maybe pursue something else. But a lot of cases for all of these drugs, and even getting into things that get injected into you, not everybody reacts the same way to the same thing. A majority of the people may, like 80% of the population is going to react this way. And then there's these 20%, or usually a lot less than that will maybe have a bad side effect. But if you're just shoveling the stuff out in buckets to people, that's going to get lost quickly.
Well, and the other thing too, of course, is it's horrible to say, but don't always trust your doctor. Sometimes doctors, I'm sure everyone's had this. I know I have. You go to a doctor, you sit there and you talk to them about what's wrong. And the attitude is, okay, well, we've only got a short visit today. Take this, see you in a couple of weeks. And the doctors, you know, unless you want to pay for, in Australia, it works a bit different to America, I think, Enzo, but you basically go to the doctor here. You can have a short visit, which might be 10, 15 minutes, or you can have a long consultation, which might be 20 minutes, and you pay double, obviously. But we're lucky here. You pay and you get more than half of it back from the government. So it's all good. Sometimes you even get bulk billed, which means you're paying nothing. But my point is that sometimes the doctors, good doctors that think outside the box, keep themselves updated with things, are honestly few and far between. And I'll say that from my perspective of I no longer work as a nurse, but being a nurse and being in that profession, you come across doctors who honestly, oh geez, look, I've got a golf game to get to. Can we hurry this up? You know, a lot of doctors are like that. And the same even with your GP. You go to the GP and they want to get as many clients through as they can for the day because they get paid more. You know, there's a lot of different things, but sometimes doctors really don't keep themselves abreast of new therapies, etc. And when you find someone who does, keep them. You know, and that's where I think people need to, like I say, get that MIMS out or the little leaflet that comes with the drug when you get it, and really read it. And if you have trouble reading it, oh gosh, I don't know, go to Grok and say, Grok, this drug, what are the, because Grok does that. I mean, that's where it gets its information from. So you can ask, but I'd read first. Okay, Grok's the last.
Your doctor probably grokked it before giving it to you.
Well, probably. To be honest, probably. So just read the pamphlet, because you will see that all antidepressants, all of them, so far as I know, are not recommended to take for more than 12 months because they lose their effect. And anyone who thinks that they don't, I don't know. I do know what drugs you're on, but yeah, they normally do lose their effect. So you should educate yourself on what it is you're taking. Try, and while you're taking it and it settles you down and makes you feel a little more relaxed, that's when you work on what got you to that point in the first place. What got you to the point where you needed that? What's happening in your life you need to deal with, and try to deal with it. And do go and talk to someone. You don't even have to talk to a psychologist. You can just go and talk to a counselor. Sometimes the minute you get these things off of your chest, or even, you know,
just talking to somebody that is willing to listen. They may not even have some advice for you, but just getting it off your chest is a lot.
Yeah. And then sometimes even by talking about it, you have, you can have an epiphany sometimes. You can be talking to someone about something and you can go, oh, and then this and this and this and this, and I don't know why. And then you go, hang on. And it'll click and you'll go, well, you know, time for a divorce.
Right, exactly. And honestly, that's usually the core for most people for any kind of a, you know, psychological type of health, is getting the patient to realize for themselves what the issue is. Because you can sit there and listen to some jackass on YouTube or TV or whatever give you advice, unsolicited advice on how to change your life, but you are the one that needs to understand and make that change yourself. It's all up to you. And a lot of it is this, like, oh, well, we'll talk more about, you know, that's our hour. We'll talk more about this next week. Come back in. Which just drags on and on and on and on.
And sometimes you need more than an hour. You're just getting into it.
You really do, to make that connection and to get that realization of getting to the root of the problem, which in the end, don't get me wrong, you know, various mental health professionals are going to lead you down a path to where basically you need to realize it yourself. You need to come to grips with whatever your issue is, to whatever your problem is. Sure, initially, taking some kind of drug or whatever that might, kind of help smooth you out and kind of get you on that path to recovery. But that's not a long-term thing. It never has been designed for that. But that's what we've turned into, is just keep popping those pills. You'll be fine as long as you keep doing
to
that.
be honest, I think sometimes, and anyone in chat, please feel free to comment. I think, this is just my opinion, I know that particular drugs you can't take long term because they really do lose their effect. It's like swallowing nothing in the end, because it's done. You shouldn't be taking them. But that's what I think might happen to some people, which they'll take something, they don't deal with what got them there in the first place to have to take it. So they don't deal with that. They take the drug because they think that will fix it, and that fixes nothing. It masks it. And then you get to a point where that drug's not working anymore, and the doctor hasn't done what I think the right thing is, to say, look, you've been on that now for a year, you're still depressed, we really need to get you into some form of counselling because this isn't doing anything. And I think sometimes, in some cases, that may be what leads people, if they're not dealing with what's wrong, and the drug that the doctor prescribed them originally is no longer seeming to have an effect, which it won't, that could lead people into other things, because that opioid, if I take that, that makes me feel dopey and I can sleep. And then they realize I need that every night to sleep. And then boom, bang, bing, opioid, you're stuffed. All right. Because then you'll become reliant upon that opioid to go to sleep. Or alcohol. Well, that's not working anymore. I'm just going to get drunk and go to sleep. All of these different things that if people are just, all these different things, though, if people are educated and taken care of initially, look, I'm not saying it's going to work with everyone, because there's people out there that, that just, look, I don't care. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't care. And unfortunately, probably the ones that say I don't care, don't want to talk to anyone, I'm just going to take this.
And they're going to end up in a bad way. Because
they're probably going to end up in a bad way. And that's sad. And that's where, when I saw this morning that Trumpy and Rogan and all them had done this, it really made me happy. I thought, oh, thank goodness, finally, because Rogan has been talking about this for some time. And I have listened to what he's spoken about. And I know there's other drugs out there that aren't completely different, but I'd love to have a go of. What's that? You'll know what I'm talking about. The one where you go to the jungle and they give it to you. I think you drink it. And
ayahuasca?
Yeah. But you'd want to be around friends, because isn't that the one where you can talk to aliens and little people?
Yep, lizard people. Yeah, it's I don't think it's something I would ever do. I mean, I don't even like smoke pot or anything like that, because it's like I want to hit it straight on. I don't feel I need that.
No, I don't want to do it because I think I need anything. I want to do it because I want to see what all the hype is about. Will I really get to see? And again,
that's another Joe Rogan experience kind of thing, where he has talked many times about these guys that are taking DMT and stuff like that, and experiencing strange creatures and strange places, but they're all doing it individually and they're reporting the same thing. So
yes, because even who is the fellow? He's not an archaeologist per se. He's on Joe. He talks about all these ancient civilizations and stuff. Oh crap! What's the name of that place that I can never say the word of in Turkey? The name of properly.
No, you're talking about the what you're talking about Graham Hancock.
Yes, thank you, Graham Hancock. That's who I'm talking about. Not necessarily connected to the place. I can't think of it at the minute.
He's big on taking those existential type.
He did that, And
things,
apparently that's where, when he was under the influence that's where he came up with like a vision, an idea of the big flood and all that sort of thing. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't know. It could be scary. You could get really spooked, maybe. But one day, who knows? Before I
again,
die,
that's everyone's different. Everyone's going to react differently to finding out some existential truth, or it's just some bizarre mind trip that's is just going to mess with your head.
Bizarre mind trip, because when you think about the dreams you have, you know, it's pretty. It's dreams in themselves. You wake up and you think, what the. How did I dream about that?
Why did I dream that mess?
Where did that come from? You know, but yeah, dreams are interesting. I saw someone talking about dreams the other day, and that they wondered if there's other dimensions out there, or what's the word? Not dimensions, universes, like multiple universes, or you know how like I'm me now in this universe, but maybe in another universe, I don't know, I'm a rich, famous doctor. I don't know. And in another universe, I might be a criminal. Or they're wondering if when you sleep, if your dream state is actually you seeing into another
universe.
And I'm like, oh, geez.
I mean, not. Technically, that would actually kind of be true, because there would be an infinite number of universes where it's you in a totally different universe, but the only difference is when you woke up in the morning, you made coffee and then toast, versus the other one in your world where you made toast and then coffee. That might be the only difference. However, there may be a whole other universe where the dinosaurs not got wiped out, and now you're living, you know, hand to fist, trying to not get eaten by T-Rexes and stuff like that. It's an infinite possibilities of things that's going on out there.
Yeah. And like when I have dreams,
however bananas your dream may be of flying or doing whatever, you're technically, there's probably a universe out there that has exactly that in it.
But that's
really that what it is you're dreaming.
That's
I
really,
don't personally think so,
stuff.
But whatever you can imagine, plus more, is a technical possibility in an infinite universe type of scenario, where you literally, you know, the classic 90s TV show Sliders, where they would go to other worlds and stuff like that. That's a great show. I actually recently purchased it on DVD, and I have it loaded on my server now to rewatch, because it's, you know, everything is open, where there might be a world where somebody has figured out the chemical formulas and stuff like that, where magic actually exists, kind of a thing, you know, where it's not just it's not something mystical so much as like a chemical response or whatever, and all the way to like dinosaurs existing, and the Russians winning the Cold War, and the German bad guys winning World War II, and so forth and so on. You know, the Britain didn't lose the Revolutionary War in the United States to where they're still controlling North America. All of that stuff. All of these are infinite possibilities that actually exist right now, just in a different plane of existence or different dimension, or however you want to describe it. And does your dream world take place there?
I don't know. Well, I like to think
it doesn't, but
no. Well, I like to think, therefore, that when I have my dreams of having coffee with Keanu Reeves, that's where I am. Keanu picked me.
And there's the universe out there where you're way more famous of a film star than he's your co-star.
Yeah. Or I have had dreams where my son, Stephen, and they seem so real. Like I wake up and I'm very upset and I want to go back to sleep. But dreams where we're picking a house and he's picking what room he wants and stuff like that. I mean, hopefully there is another universe or world where he didn't die and he is there. But then I'd want to go to sleep and go to that world. Because that world, when I had that dream, that was nice. It was good, you know, but that's, it'd be a nice thought, but then a scary thought, because what about, like, I've had dreams where I've been chased. How many other people have had dreams where you feel like you're being chased, but like for your life? I remember once in one dream, my dad was chasing me with a carving knife, and I couldn't escape, but he didn't catch me, but I still couldn't escape. So pretty spooky. It's rare that Karen doesn't mention Keanu in Alive. Yeah, it is kind of rare I don't. Enzo is frozen. He'll have to go out and come back in maybe.
Yeah. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you. Can't see you, that's all.
For some reason, I know the last time we chatted, I was talking about, I think my computer's on its last legs. Everything USB connected just disconnected and reconnected, to include my camera. And the camera is not coming back because, I mean, it's this is what you see. The live image behind me is still real.
Weird. Yeah, the live image.
For whatever reason, me on my camera is not working. Actually, my camera is not even active. Let me check it. Hang on. I'll futz with it, and if it doesn't, I'll disappear and come right back.
Yeah, just fuss with it and disappear and come back. But yeah, so as I say, the subject this morning when I woke up and saw that, it was a relief to not see something on the war thing again, an oil crisis and blah 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 blah. And it was just nice to see something good. You know, so I think it's good. Anyway, I don't know what other people think, but yeah, it is a bit Twilight Zone-y stuff, isn't it, Tanya? There we go. We're back. It's working. It is interesting that the live feed was still going and not frozen.
Yeah, it was actually my camera wasn't even on. It was just a frozen image of whatever I last was doing on camera. So I had to restart the camera itself. But I'm back now.
So there you go. Look, the other thing I wanted to talk about, I'll just stop and go this. I don't know what the go is anymore with sharing things like this, but Hannity.
Hannity.
Hannity. Yeah, I was watching him last night and he was talking to a lady who she gets but about the missing scientists. Apparently another one has just recently a suspicious disappearance, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I've seen a lot of people talk about these scientists disappearing, and I was chatting with you, Enzo, before we started, but just that it's really been probably from 24, but certainly last year and this year, a whole heap. Now, I think there's 11 thus far, 11, all connected to UAP, research, and I think the latest one, the latest fellow.
The people that are some of them aren't. It's super tangential if they're like UFO related or anything like. But there's certainly high science and certainly nuclear backgrounds and things like that. So that people like this are disappearing or just coming up missing or are being mysteriously murdered or self-deleting. There's something strange about the self-deleting like
is strange too. There was somebody, I haven't been able to find it unless it comes up on this. There's somebody that used to work with Grosh, who was a whistleblower, and a meeting had been organised with him just recently. A meeting had been organised. He was supposed to show up to this meeting, didn't show up. Guess what? He took his leap out of this world suspiciously. So this is just getting beyond the joke. This is just ridiculous. Right. And apparently that's why you've got the congressmen that are talking out saying, I am not in any way, shape or form going to hurt myself. So it's weird. But Hannity spoke about this for a few minutes. So I'll stop and go as I have to keep YouTube happy, but have a listen.
All right, as we reported last night, 11 U.S. scientists, some tied to highly sensitive government work, are now dead or missing, raising very serious questions about national security. The White House has launched a probe into the mysterious disappearances, with President Trump now vowing to get answers within days, calling the situation pretty serious. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt wrote on X earlier today, the White House is actively working with all relevant agencies and the FBI to holistically review all of the cases together and identify any potential commonalities that may exist. No stone will be unturned in this effort, and the White House will provide updates when we have them.
The only thing that bothers me about that is how much have we heard since Trumpy's gotten in, where they say, oh, we're looking into this and you'll find out really soon, and then nothing sort of happens. It just, I don't know, but I think it would pay for him. I would think it would pay for him to look into this, because some of these people are merely disappearing. No bodies, no nothing. So what's going on? What could be happening? I mean, have they been?
I mean, the potential's there to keep it a little grounded is, someone from Russia or China may have abducted these people and are now questioning them in some secure location elsewhere, trying to find out what secrets they know, that kind of a thing. Which, that's like probably like the bottom level, most normal kind of thing that you could possibly think of, all the way up to there's something big coming and we need their expertise and we need to remove them from all of society and to try and figure out whatever the thing is, that
get their help on something. But
anyway, here with more. The only person that can pick this apart, the host of Fox Stories on Fox 1, our friend Nancy Grace. I also want to get an update on Nancy Guthrie from you tonight, but this to me,
it's frightening.
I know she's a bit spooky. I think
she does a spirit Halloween wig. I'm convinced.
I think she's got a show, because I've seen her speaking on the Nancy Guthrie case. I think she's got like a show, a true crime show or program.
She does.
But she gets nasty. Her name should be Karen. I'm sure she's really, lovely.
She is the original prototype Karen. That is.
But she's probably fine. She's just no nonsense.
It is either the oddest coincidence or something's really going on.
I can't believe I heard Sean Hannity say coincidence. One murder or missing person is an isolated incident. 2, a coincidence. 3 is a pattern. A pattern. 3 is a pattern. That's my rule of thumb. And Sean, I can't count, literally cannot count the number of felonies, multiple offenses I have tried, be it serial murder, serial rape, serial child molestation, you name it. 1, isolated. 2, coincidence. 3, it's a pattern. And I'll tell you what kicked it off. It was the disappearance of retired Air Force Major General McCaslin. Now, McCaslin,
which you heard about here first.
What was that? Which you did hear about it here first, but only our regulars. Yeah, she wasn't referring to these 10 before. She was saying her experience because she's true crime. So she wasn't meaning these 10. She was talking about in general that usually more than 3 is not a coincidence.
Most highly sensitive classified materials in the country. He disappears. His wife's gone 1 hour, Sean, 1 hour. She comes back. He's gone. Interesting. His hiking boots, his wallet, and his 38 are missing. But guess what's left behind, Sean? All wearable devices that could track him, his phone, and his prescription glasses. They're all left behind. Interesting. Why would he leave like that? Now, again, isolated incident. But here's the nexus to Monica Jacinto Reza. He oversaw her funding, and that was from the AFRL, the Air Force Research Lab. She goes missing too. They are 2 of 11. Those are the most recent ones. Again, this is not a coincidence.
There is somebody else just recently since Sean Hannity spoke to her. There's another one and that's the one that was supposedly due to talk in a skiff, I believe, because he was a whistleblower and he'd worked with David Grush. So it's just really getting weird.
I should have learned when you were on the podcast hanging out with me. I told the story. I made the mistake one time. I showed a little bit of negativity because I was frustrated
Yes, you did.
related to the Nancy Guthrie case, which I'm going to ask you about in a second. And here it is. Sean, did you just say coincidence? I got to be careful when I interview Nancy Grace. You got to check her out on the podcast.
Here's another problem with that case, Sean.
Oh, boy. Now I'm going to get excoriated again on my own show. Go ahead.
He has her on a lot, and yeah. This is her.
They're lumped in with UFO conspiracy talk.
Yep.
Okay, right there, that's wrong. This is not about an ET. These are about human beings that have been killed or are missing, and they are being branded as some sort of a fringe investigation. That is not the case. These are highly intelligent scientists.
Okay, let me be clear because I wasn't in the beginning. I agree with you. This is not. This is real to me. I agree with you. I stand corrected. By the way, most people are not used to hearing me say that. All right, let me ask you about this. Maybe a breakthrough. I'm hoping for one in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Sources to Fox News Digital confirm the FBI has received DNA recovered from the home of Nancy Guthrie, including test results from a hair sample. A Florida lab that partners with the Pima County Sheriff's Department sent the sample finally to the FBI. I think it should have been sent there originally, which is using new technology to perform an advanced analysis on the DNA sample. What do you see here?
I'll talk about Nancy in a minute. But yeah, so these missing scientists, I can fill you in on the Nancy Guthrie thing in a minute. The missing scientists, it's more a concern for me, I think, not so much about UFOs. Not really, because anything they knew, they'd know, and I don't know. I'm more concerned, as Enzo was indicating before, what if they're not dead but merely abducted, kidnapped, whatever, or offered up. In my opinion, I think maybe they've been approached. Hey, we need you, but you're going to have to kind of just disappear. We can't have anybody know that we're talking to you about this stuff. We'll organize it. Just, be ready or whatever. Just know that someone might knock on your door or someone might tap you on the shoulder and you've got to come with us, top secret. And then maybe they've offered it to the ones that are no longer with us, and the ones that are no longer with us have said, shit, no, I've got to tell people about this. This is what? Yeah. This is incredible. No, I'm going to. And unfortunately, they've made the mistake of saying no to the offer. And whatever this is, whatever it is they need these scientists for, it could be a shocking thing, possibly. There could be something that people need assistance with, not to do with UFOs, but who knows? Because I've said it before, I know his first name and I always forget his last name, but Ben, with the theory of the poles shifting and the water, and what's his last name? Ben Davison, with the theory about, because our poles are shifting, they have shifted, and they're shifting reasonably quickly.
Yeah, well, the magnetic poles of the Earth, that does happen periodically. That's not usually in dispute. It's the physical Earth flipping over 90 degrees. A lot of people argue with, and I still struggle with it as far as if it's real or not, because there's certain things I can sort of understand it, but if you start going into, I mean, we mentioned Graham Hancock earlier, where he's exposing these, like really ancient, like older than 12,000 plus years ago societies. If the Earth had flipped and all that stuff, because a lot of their things that we're finding, these ancient rock structures like
underwater,
Stonehenge, and basically, all of these ancient structures, which are like little astronomy calculators where everything's lined up, where when the sun rises on the spring solstice, the shadow of this tower will cover this one in an exact shape. That doesn't work if every 12,000 years the Earth
Yeah,
is
the
flopping
Earth
every
shifts.
90 degrees.
Well, that's why I think, just for people who don't know, Enzo's terrified of Ben's prediction that the world's
Waking in
going
my boot.
Yeah, he's terrified. It's stuff nightmares are made for. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think so, because of what you just said too.
Right.
Could be a great flood. Could something happen? Like we're having a lot of earthquakes at the moment here through Australia. I'm not sure if they've hit anywhere in New Zealand yet. And we talked about this last week. Like there could be earthly changes that create tsunamis or, and could wipe out something. But I don't think Ben's prediction, I don't think that it's going to get to that. I'm positive it's not going to get to that. I'm more concerned really about maybe do they know something else is going to happen, and are they aware of technology? I'm thinking more along, because you're thinking about what these scientists do. Like the lady that disappeared while she was hiking, she made that new alloy for craft.
Right. She's a metallurgist where she's developing new metal type technologies and how they interact with whatever the specific situation is. The thing is all of these scientists have very high level. This isn't Bill down at the muffler shop that can weld a couple things together. These people that are very advanced technology, where they're figuring things out, things like that. And for a lot of them to disappear rather quickly like that into the middle of the night, like with the general's case, where literally an hour where everything's normal, everything's fine. Yeah. Wife's going to go off to a doctor's appointment, and by the time she gets back, he is vanished. There's something else going on here where you could certainly go off the avenue to where perhaps he, to reflect back to the beginning of the show. Maybe he had some psychological issues that he was trying to deal with getting older and having issues remembering things and didn't want to live that way. Maybe he went out to self-delete out into the countryside that he loved so much.
Maybe.
I would think they would have found something by now, because there's not. It's not like because where he was, because he lives in a suburb of Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is high desert area. Yeah. It's not like there's giant forests with tons of predators that would have carried off a body or anything like that. Unless he
saw a black bear and tried to give it a cake, and the black bear carried.
That never ends well. I have it on good authority that. But yeah, cases like that where there is a very mundane kind of normal situation that could apply there, but it's a little curious that these highly educated, highly structured folks that have dealt with high technology and things like that, where there may be something else going on here that for people just to straight up vanish. I mean, sure, there's the whole missing 411 type cases where there's plenty of those where people just vanish, just are gone. And maybe their remains are found like years and years later, and they're like dozens of miles away from where they originally disappeared, or the more anomalous where they're found over places where people have searched dozens of times, and suddenly they're just right there, like less than a mile from where they were last seen. Where there's certainly a lot of strange stuff going on in this world. That's kind of the point of what we do and talk about here. For a lot of cases, no matter what your background is. But as far as the scientists go, there's something else going on where it's that seems like almost to actually like kidnap people, or to say, hey, you need to come with us right now because whatever is happening and you're the only one that can help. That, which is like every hero savior type complex reimagined that some people would have, where it's like, I'm the one that's going to save the world and all that. that kind of scenario. I'm sure it may be sold that way. You are the only one. You are the only one that knows how to fix this problem, and you need to come with us right now to save the earth. There's something going on to where people are being snatched up or disappeared. I don't think it's this person knows too much and we're just gonna off them. I think there's something else. There's a collection going on of high technology type scientists where they're being collected to do work on something.
Something
That
possibly even the president hasn't been read. Well, as you can see, like from the different congressmen, they say need to know president. I'm like, but it's not looking good. And I've been trying to find what it was I was looking at before. Yesterday, they interviewed a congressman who was due to go into a skiff with the whistleblower that had worked with Grosh, and that whistleblower has turned up unalived, which is highly suspicious. And so now Trump has ordered the FBI to look into all of these disappearances, including the most recent one. And we'll see what happens. I mean, who the hell knows? You wait for people to look into things. I know things take a long time to investigate. I know they do. It's not like watching an hour episode of CSI or, Law and Order. It doesn't get done in an hour. But yeah, which does lead me to the Nancy Guthrie case too, for anyone who is interested, another missing lady. They've finally got some DNA, which was a hair. They've got they're now trying to match that. And so far as I know, they haven't. It's not Nancy's hair, but again, and it was from her bedroom. That was it. It wasn't Nancy's hair, and it was found in her bedroom. So fingers crossed, but then it could be anybody's. But, it depends where. Like, again, they're not telling anyone too much, so you're not really finding out details. I don't know how it will go.
Did they say where the hair was located in the home?
In her bedroom. No, that's it. They didn't say where in her bedroom. I would suggest
a hair found, next to the sink in the kitchen or next to into the bathroom is very different from a hair found on the pillowcase next to where she
that's
slept.
what I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering, have they found this hair in her bed?
Right.
Like I myself, I'm sorry. I know they keep saying they've been cleared, but something just really simply does not sit right with me. I don't like to say it, but I just think the last person to see her dropped her off at home and said they watched her walk in through the garage, not the front door, through the garage into the house, and she got in safely. I don't know. That means that if she didn't lock the house before she left, someone could have got into the house before she got home. It's all, and all these, they've also said that now the original kidnapping notes that were sent to TMZ were probably real, because they actually said, you don't do it, she dies. I just don't know. It's really weird. And because no one can really make a great guess on what's happened, because nobody is being given, which is a bit sad. No one's being given, like, media is not being given proper details. Like, perhaps if the media was given some good details, the general public could help more, like if they knew certain things. But even the thing with the blood being found, on her, just inside the door and on the doorstep to the driveway. Just let's just say, how do we know when that blood was put there? How do we know how old that blood was? What if that blood was from that morning or something had happened. She's going outside to check the letterbox. She's cut herself. She's gone to the driveway to the letterbox or whatever. How do we know that even, like, we don't know. That could have been an event the day before or that evening before she's gone and caught the Uber. I'm pretty sure the daughter would say if mum had a cut on her hand or something, because she would have been bandaged. But I'm just saying, I want to know how they know that blood happened with the incident and not the day before. Like, how do they know she didn't do something the day before and she just hadn't gotten around, because she's not able-bodied properly, so she wouldn't necessarily be able to get down and scrub the blood off the floor. She might have had to wait for the cleaner to come. You know what I mean? But the back doors being I think it was said that there was pot plants put in front of each door to keep it ajar. So my theory is she probably still was taken out the back. Maybe the blood has nothing to do with it, or maybe she did wake up and she got to the door trying to get out, and she's gotten out the door but been nabbed. Who knows? No one knows. That's just it. The police might have a really good idea, and so could the FBI, but they're not telling anybody anything. They're leaking out little bits. But now that they've found the hair, hopefully that hits a match of some description. But there's still just something not right with me. Something's just not sitting right with me in regard to the family. Not Savannah, but because the daughter and the son-in-law were looking after her, like they were her carers, so to speak. I don't know.
Tanya's last comment is key, I feel.
They did ask for a ransom, and that's what's coming out now.
Though? Was it
no,
really?
Yeah, it's coming out. It's coming out that the two first original, even the FBI has said that they do believe the first two original notes that went to TMZ were real. So that's what they're going with. So they do think that those notes were real. They do understand the fact that it could have been bullshit, but something apparently in the notes, and even Savannah in the interview she gave, she said she believes that two of the notes were real. And you know, they wanted proof of life though, and they didn't get it, and that's why they didn't pay. Frankly, if it were my mother and I had the millions that they've got, I would have just fucking paid. They would have eventually tracked down the people who took the money. Like they would have they would have, you know. And that's another thing that still sticks in my mind. Someone with pretty good knowledge of how to cover their tracks on the internet, again, leads me back to, is it somebody that was involved with Savannah's husband because of his original job, not his current. Again, his original job was covering up people's internet tracks. He knows how to do that stuff. I'm not saying it was him, but is it someone who knew him who was pissed off? She didn't say how they were real, Tanya. There's an interview with her that you can find on YouTube. She didn't say why she thought they were real. She didn't say the points in the letter that led her to believe they were real. She just said there were things in the letter that led to her thinking that those two particular ones were real. So she didn't elaborate. Like she didn't say because they said X, Y, or Z. She just said that she felt that those were real. So I don't know. It's just at this point, obviously, the poor lady's no longer with us. There's no way she's still with us. I just wish for the family that they could find out who did it and why. And then at the very least, if they can't find out who really did it, and if they can't find out why, at least find her body, you know. But it just depends where they went after, you know. It's all, I don't know. There's just something's just not right. Like other cases, it's sort of like with the disappearing general, you know, something is just really weird. Like that's why you look at that and go, well, that's not normal. I mean, sure. He could have wandered off.
Even if like with General Bukhasin, if we're assuming that the scenario of, hey, there's this secret thing. We need you to come with us right now. He can never return to normal life ever again. Because then he would have to answer to everybody, well, what happened? Where have you been? Where did you go? Why have you been gone so long? Why didn't you communicate with anybody?
Yeah, having said that, he might be able to, once whatever it is that, let's go with that theory, whatever it is that they've all been taken for is fixed, and maybe it's part of some bigger picture, and then they can come forward and say,
that would mean that would come to life, which I don't.
That's what I mean. Maybe they want it to come to
would
life.
want to do. So,
yeah, but maybe they do want it. They will.
There's an alien spaceship that's heading for Earth. We detected it out half a light year. It'll be here in 6 months. You need to get down here and be part of the team. This is just a total, fabricated scenario I just made up in my little drunk head. But if that's all over, where it didn't even stop. It just flew right past our solar system, or whatever it is, whatever that best case scenario is. He can't go back to normal life without explaining. It would have to be some intricate banana tale. I decided I was going to go try some ayahuasca like Graham Hancock talked about, and I got abducted by somebody, and I've been living in Mexico for the last 8 months. To be quite honest,
he could come back. They could all come back, and they could all come up with some bullshit story like we were abducted. Right. A light beamed us up, and we don't have any memories. That's all we remember. And everyone would go, oh, yeah, and the story had been dead in 6 months. Sure. Like, oh, okay, whatever. Because that's unfortunately what happens. Like even the Nancy Guthrie thing.
They could pull a Gilligan's Island. I was walking under a sunny beach and a coconut fell on my head and I lost my memory for 6 or 7 months. And then I got bonked on the head again and I got my memory back. And now I remember everything. Sorry I've been gone. No, sorry to bother everybody for the last 6 months or whatever.
Although they could quite easily come up with some story. But whatever it is, if they went willingly, because that's the other thing. You can't just abduct somebody and expect that they're going to do what you want them to do. So let's assume they went willingly, knowing what it was that they were needed for, then they're not going to lose their lives or anything if it comes to, whatever it is they do. I mean, I don't know. I just think, but I do wonder about the ones that ended their lives or the ones that were murdered. I do wonder, because could that be the very fact that they were told what they were wanted for, the importance of it, and what would be involved, what they'd have to sacrifice in coming and helping, and they just said no? Well, unfortunately, you know too much now. You had your opportunity. Other people have come up with that idea too, where they just outed because, well, we've told them, we had to tell them what we wanted and explain it. And now they've said no, and they're going to go whistleblowing and telling everyone what we're up to. We can't have that because it'll create panic.
You just mentioned how whistleblowers end up. That's why there's a lot, because if you think about it, recently, Karen and I watched a video not that long ago where it was talking about Bob Lazar and his story and things like that. And just think about the logistics. Forget Bob's story or whatever. For that to exist, thousands of people probably worked at that facility, from the guy that mopped the floor to the guy that was evaluating, whatever the ship was made of or whatever. All of these people, there's going to be a lot of people involved with this. For them to suddenly, have to, because one person got caught, taking their neighbors out to watch test flights and stuff like that. Now all of these people have to relocate or somehow change everything about their lives, their secret life of working at this facility. There's a ton of facilities like that all over the place, all over the world, run by different countries, run by the United States, run all this stuff. There's all these secret facilities doing secret things. If there's gonna be people there that know things, they may not have had hands on to creative stuff, but in the lunchroom the guy next to him was like, man, I evaluated this stuff, and this is something that came from a different star system because of the design of the whatever it is. There's people are going to talk. So that means that person can't say anything ever to anybody because now they're affiliated with it. And that's what we're starting to see, where you get these whistleblowers that may have heard something. They may not have had like hands-on craft. They may not have had things going on to where they are personally involved, but they heard stories, and they heard stories from the people that did have all of these things, and they start talking about it. Suddenly they turn up missing. Suddenly they're found in pieces and parts scattered all over the desert. It's a warning. People like this that are high level, like General McCaslin, just vanishing literally in the middle of the day. Not even like the dark of night, just literally in the middle of the day, just gone. Nobody knows.
This
That's
is the
symbol.
This is the news thing I was looking for. So I'll play this because this also gives some insight.
The death of a young scientist who warned her life was in danger has resurfaced as the list of scientists with ties to America's space and nuclear secrets who have mysteriously died or disappeared grows to 11. As fears rise that the disturbing cases have an insidious connection, President Trump recently revealed his team is looking into the matter.
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff. But we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short term.
Anti-gravity researcher Amy Eskridge allegedly died from a self-inflicted gunshot in June 2022 when she was just 34 years old, according to the Daily Mail. However, the researcher specializing in anti-gravity, which is a staple topic among UFO enthusiasts, mysteriously warned in a 2020 interview that her life might be in danger while discussing her research company, the Institute for Exotic Science.
I started the Institute for one reason. The Institute. I started it as a public-facing persona to disclose anti-gravity technology through, because I told Mark this, if you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices if your head gets chopped off.
That's pretty. And then what happens? She ends up dead.
Right. She wasn't as famous as she thought. She is now. But
she is now.
At the time, it wasn't enough to save her. There are certainly a lot of mysterious and unusual things about her disappearance.
Yeah.
Eskridge also revealed that she had been receiving threats and that she had plans to disclose information about UFOs and extraterrestrials to the public. Her death was ruled a suicide, and neither the police nor the medical examiners have publicly released any details of an investigation into her death. Eskridge's death was unearthed after an already growing web of concerning deaths and disappearances of NASA scientists and individuals with ties to U.S. space and nuclear secrets. Eric
I think this is the interview with the guy who's wanting answers. The one I said talk to you about.
Burleson of the House Oversight Committee told Fox News the fate of the scientists is too coincidental and almost certainly linked to the access they had to classified information, with the potential involvement of bad actors.
This is a rattling call to pay attention to this issue and make sure that our nation's top scientists are safe and secure. This is too coincidental, and so we have to be investigating this. We need to have our nation's top investigators, the FBI, and every agency looking into this matter.
Michael David Hicks, who worked at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Flint Ridge, California, as a research assistant, passed away at the age of 59 in July of 2023. However, there's no public cause of death or autopsy for Hicks' passing, nor any mention of how he died in his obituary. Although,
like some of these could just be, natural death, but it is young to pass away.
Though it does ask for donations in his memory to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. 3 other scientists with ties to NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, or JPL, have either gone missing or died over the past few years, even as recently as February. On February 16, 2026, renowned astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer who worked on NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope, was suddenly and shockingly shot dead on the porch of his home in California. His shooter, Freddie Snyder, was arrested and is currently in jail. However, a clear motive has yet to be established. Another researcher at NASA's JPL, Frank Mywald, died in July 2024 at the age of 61. Like Hicks, there's little to no public information about how he died.
He's cute. He reminds me of a little munchkin with his little bow tie. Oh, poor man.
JPL's former newly appointed director of its materials processing group, Monica Reza, mysteriously went missing in June of 2025 while hiking with friends in the Angeles National Forest in California and hasn't been seen since. Reza's research in materials science was funded by the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Base in Ohio, which is long rumored to hold extraterrestrial debris tied to the famous 1947 Roswell crash.
Do you suppose that's an alien's body? I guess that's
probably not. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be. It's pretty beefy, whatever it is.
Yeah, pretty top-heavy, isn't it?
That's not a gray in that bag.
The Air Force Research Lab was headed up by retired Air Force General William McCaslin, who also has shockingly gone missing. McCaslin mysteriously vanished on February 27, 2026 from his Albuquerque, New Mexico home, along with a pair of hiking boots and a .38 caliber revolver. McCaslin was also the former research commander at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico, which works closely on national security projects with Los Alamos National Laboratory, famous for developing nuclear weapons during the Manhattan Project. In June of 2025, two workers from Los Alamos, Anthony Chavez and Melissa Casillas, vanished from their homes in eerily similar circumstances.
See, this is what I mean. How can you say that it's not a coincidence? It's totally weird.
Chavez, age 79, was last seen leaving his New Mexico home on foot, leaving behind his car, wallet, phone, and keys. Casillas, age 54, was last seen on camera walking alone on a highway, also without her wallet, phone, or keys, after telling family members she would be working from home, Dateline reported. Other dead or missing scientists include Jason Thomas, who led the chemical biology team at Novartis and was found dead in a lake this past March. Famous MIT physicist Nuno Loureiro, who was shot and killed last December, and Stephen Garcia, who worked on security for a producer of non-nuclear components in American-made nukes and went missing in August of last year. As of now, no federal agency has publicly acknowledged any connection between the cases. President Trump announced that he had ordered an investigation on the matter and that they would likely have an answer over the next week.
Weird. And that fellow that congressman talking, he's the one in another clip, that same interview with Fox, where he said that he'd organised a interview with one of the guys that had worked with Grush, which is one of the fellows. So absolutely something very, very weird happening.
Yeah, I mean if you don't want to get into the woo-woo stuff and say UFOs are involved or any of that stuff, you would even at a basic level say this is some foreign government, meaning China or Russia or someplace like that, where they're abducting these people because of their knowledge of infrastructure for just science in general, whether it's nuclear or propulsion or any of these things that are publicly known about these people that they worked on. These are valuable secrets, even if it's even 10 years old, that would certainly bring a country that doesn't have that knowledge. It would bring them more up on par to today's knowledge. I mean, so
the only other thing that I can think of is that there's one person out there who has a link to all of these people. So one person out there who's a bit crazy, who has a link to every single one of these people, like a serial killer type thing that aims for just these people, but even those words coming out of my mouth are like
right.
Nah.
If you think about that super secret kind of world where you got your like Bob Lazar kind of characters that are working in there, they get a brought in to work on a super secret special project because they have a unique set of skills and may be able to kind of bring something up over the top of regular science, kind of an idea.
When you said a unique set of skills, all I see is Liam Neeson.
Sure.
I have a unique
down
set
and kill all of you. But that's kind of why I led into that, because that's kind of how those that's kind of old school, nowadays, I think. But whereas like, hey, if you come to work for us, we'll pay you this much. You just need to be available at these times when we call you. And if you don't, we will end you. And you will never work anywhere ever again, if even seen again. That kind of threat level. Typically, for that kind of an operation, because the CIA has been doing that for years and years and years, where they'll find somebody that could possibly know something, or maybe worm their way into inside of an organization, but they've got a checkered past. They have dark secrets that they don't want exposed that the CIA knows. So they hold that over them. It's like, well, if you do this for us, then everything, we'll wipe your record clean. If not, we'll expose everything and you'll be destroyed. Kind of an idea. So that's been around for a long, long time.
It has. I mean, if you've ever watched James Bond or any of those sorts of movies, espionage, that's amazing, the sort of things that go on, that we really are in a different world. Like, the mind probably boggles. And even when you see Congressman Birch talk the other day about if the public saw some of the things that he has seen, it would make you really upset. And I think, well, the sort of things that would make me really upset would be anything to do with animals or children, or just torture type things.
And to be honest, at the level that we're talking about now, the humans are the animal, where that's how they're treating all the people that we've just been talking about, where you do this or you're done, kind of a thing.
And that's where you kind of think, I honestly don't. I've seen Trump talk a few times about his orders to Hegseth to get this stuff out about aliens, etc., or UFOs or whatever. At the moment, I dare say Pete Hegseth is a little bit busy, unless he's got someone else on it.
A little preoccupied with other things.
He's a little preoccupied. I think there's things that are a bit more important than letting people know aliens are real, or that these craft. And to be honest, again, if America had access to weapons like they could have, if it was, scientifically proven that we've been working on these reverse engineering type things, you'd think that they'd use them in this current.
It depends on the level of
what they are.
I think, because there are certain things where, whatever we're talking about is above the level of a nuclear weapon. Okay, let's let our imagination run wild. Okay, we have designs where we can set off this antimatter device that will put a moon-sized crater in the earth. That's going to affect the entire biosphere around the earth. I
didn't want to go that scary, Enzo. That's a bit spooky. Well, we already know.
That's not even that's just like step one above a nuclear weapon. It's just something that's just exponentially worse.
But what about, what's it, the discombobulation, some weapon that they do have? I think it's called the
discombobulator. That's what they refer to. That's supposedly what they used when they went down into what the hell was the country there when they grabbed the president? Venezuela. Sorry. Where the discombobulator, which caused confusion and people didn't know what to do or whatever. Basically, that's like high frequency level RF radiation being beamed directly at your head, where it's short circuiting how your brain works. You don't know how to do anything. You kind of just have to stand there and deal with it. or just fall down, where it short circuits your brain. Is basically from a distance.
And we know that they've got that. So what other weapons do they have? Well, whispers of different mind control things and all that sort of thing. And look at the world, as it stands at the moment, the amount of people that you can see online, or even in real life, and you think, fucking hell, like, what have you been? Have they been taping your eyes wide shut like Clockwork Orange and making you watch bullshit? Like, it's not hard. The brains work different people, different ways, different things. There's some people that are just more susceptible.
Something that works on one group of people won't work on another.
Won't work on the other.
Like hypnosis. Somebody, stage magician is doing a hypnosis act. Some people they'll take 20 people out of the audience, and they usually send well over half of them back to the audience because they're just not susceptible to that suggestion of clucking like a chicken in front of everybody or whatever.
I had someone try to hypnotize me once. No go. I can't even meditate. I can't. I can't even meditate. I can relax outside staring up at the sky and looking at animals, but you won't be able to hypnotize me. They've tried, I have had it done. So there are some people that just won't work on, and there's other people. Here's a conspiracy theory. What if the COVID jab was really a mind control drug, and it works on some, but not all?
Well,
So maybe
that is a conspiracy, of course, but you're not wrong. Because honestly, it didn't work on anybody. It didn't protect you from anything. So
it didn't protect you from COVID at all.
There was a small percentage where it certainly messed you up. There was how many, 2021 and 2022, how many young under 30 athletes had that thing just dropped out in the middle of fields. It's like, I'm sure it's not connected at all. I'm sure it's not.
No, I'm sure it's not connected at all. but yeah, when you know the conversation that mongrel bloody, what's his name? I hate him so much I can never remember his name. I can only see his horrible little glasses and what's his name? Microsoft man.
Bill Gates.
Him. He's horrible. Like, he's a monster. He's a
and again, that could be one of those things where they were probably, obviously he has a stupid amount of wealth at his fingertips, where somebody may have approached him and it's like, hey, if you invest a couple of your spare billions that you have in this project, we're going to heal the world. It'll be a cure-all for everybody and everyone should take it. And we'll just steal your money and do whatever with it and make some kind of MK Ultra super virus something or other that'll kill everybody.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. I think it was just a test run, because I have gone down the Epstein rabbit hole. I have read a few of the different emails between him and Bill Gates, and there were definitely conversations between him and Epstein and others with money about how one would go about controlling the population.
Right.
What if there was a virus? And what if everybody had to do this to survive? And there was all these conversations going on. Now, this was 10 years,
right,
going by the dates on the thing, over 10 years.
But it doesn't even have to be something that, a virus that would kill, gazillions of people. It's the fear of, of that being possible. So you need people to be scared. So
yeah. And the interesting thing that happened with that was that people were made to think, I didn't. Right when it's come out, I was saying to people, bullcrap, influenza A is worse than this bullshit. And then they were saying, oh no, thousands are dying and my friend's dying and this happened. Maybe, but people get the regular flu and die. Influenza A, I've said it before, in this country, just influenza A kills 3,000 and upwards per year. It does kill them. And that's usually because they're elderly or susceptible to that sort of thing. And influenza A is a bastard. That's horrible to get. So, but when it first happened, I'm like, no, this is bullcrap. Like, everybody just wash your hands and keep your distance and do what you do normally, like just normal thing. But then it got progressively worse, and people were saying, oh, Karen, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, well, that's how it seems to me. But then it got to the control aspect. The lockdown didn't bother me at first because I thought, oh, well, if it's only a couple of weeks just to be sure. But
2 weeks
then
to flatten the curve. That's all you need to
yeah,
do.
it dragged on and it got worse and it screwed people up. Since that happened, and the other thing was, even if you said, I don't want the jab, in my instance, I ended up having to have it because otherwise I would lose my job.
And that was
in the nursing profession.
That was the greatest insult that spun the most people around. It's like, wait a minute, totally experimental drug created within a year that I have to take to go back to work.
Yeah. But a lot of people like myself,
well,
like myself at the time, I didn't have the option to say no. I needed to work.
Right.
So if I said no, I'd be unemployed, and I was fucked. I was trying to get money together to buy a house and all that sort of thing. I would have been screwed. So a lot of people cleverly said no to it. I wish I had have now, retrospectively. But even now, you go for a job in the health field and it will ask, have you had the COVID injections? And I'm like, why are you even asking that when it's been proven they were, it has. It's been proven they were bullshit. The whole jab thing was bullshit. Yep. It just was. And it's been proven and it's been documented that it was really
didn't prevent
pointless.
You from catching it, didn't prevent you from
didn't
spreading
prevent you from catching it.
What the hell was it for?
But it proved a point. It proved a point that the population can be controlled. And
that's the saddest part of all of it for me, is that there were so many that were willing to, just inject. And to be honest and totally fair about it, if I had still been in the military,
you would have had to have had
when all that stuff, I would have had to have gone, and I probably would have been because it's, when I was in the military, I got so many inoculations and so many different shots for a zillion different things because, of all the different places I had to travel in the world at a moment's notice, I always had to keep, I think I went through the whole, I had all, pretty much anything you can imagine that you would get. I had.
Well, when you're traveling, and I've had all the immunizations, etc., your regular ones. I've even had the polio.
For me, adding one more would have been like, just whatever.
Just do it. But the scariest thing, the most horrible things that came out of that time are the fact that most of the children that were at school, and I've been affected by this with my kids, screwed them up completely.
Oh yeah, psychologically, of not being able just to go and socialize with your friends and socialize.
So now my kids actually have a serious problem socializing, not just because of their autism or anything like that, but because of that stupid lockdown and the inability to keep the social contacts properly. Then, of course, even if you said, well, no, I'm not having the jab, you could lose your job. If you said, well, I'm not going to stay in lockdown, you would get arrested and locked up. If you questioned it on the YouTube or anything, I think they've settled down with that now. But questioned it or whatever, you'd get banned. You'd get there were people here.
Make up stupid words. It's like, you have to get the coof shot. Or whatever,
like you can't. I think
the coof jab. You couldn't even say that. It was just stupid baby words.
But it showed me just how easily we are lambs to the slaughter. Literally, because when the government says you will, or you will lose your job, you will, or we will send the police around to arrest you, and you will pay a big fine. people aren't rich. People can't afford to pay a fine. Like, there was nothing we could do. We were lambs to the slaughter. But I think the world has learned since that, oh my gosh, that's
the
what
thing
they did.
Is if a legitimately super virulent, high death rate illness were to start spreading, nobody's going to believe it now.
No.
Because of all that nonsense.
Something that was, they tried a couple of little snickety things when Biden was still in, the chicken flu thing, and they killed all those chickens. Bird
flu comes up every couple of years. Whoa,
let's kill
we have to, no.
Yeah, and I thought, nah, if I get bird flu, oh well, whatever, And then there was something just recently. This year again, there was whispers of something. Was it pig flu or something? Something stupid. And I'm like, I don't care. So I think if anything ever happened again, it all depends upon what they threaten you with, though. I mean, let's just say, yep, everybody know what you've got to do this. You have to do this or else. There's a fine or there's what. I mean, again, it's kind of like, people have to stand up. It's time people started going, oh, screw this, and arced up, because the government, really, we elect the government to govern, not tell us. Like, we've got our moral code. We know what the law is. You don't murder people. You don't rob people. You don't, we've got all that. Everybody knows those general rules of thumb to be part of society, but we don't need the government telling us what we can and can't do. Monkeypox, that was it, Dee. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm just over it. I don't know. That's why I guess I've been watching what's been happening in your country with your government, and I'm like, yeah, it's got to happen here too. It's got to. We've got to. People have to stand up. This is just bullshit. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. Be interesting. I said to my girls as a joke the other day, if it continues on the way it is with our government, America might find more people wanting to come and live there. It's actually just getting ridiculous. Here, I don't know what it's like in New Zealand, Tanya, but here at the moment, things are really bad. Food's gotten really expensive. It's gone up about 20%. And they're about to put interest rates on home loans up extraordinarily so. We've got no oil coming in at the minute. Our stupid prime minister went to Singapore and somewhere else, and I'm like, you're a frigging idiot. Then one of our refineries, we only got 2 refineries, one caught fire the other day, the one down in Geelong. I'm like,
whoa, mysteriously caught on fire.
Yeah, mysteriously. And then the silly thing is our other one, which is up here in Brisbane, I think it's here in Brisbane, the other refinery. If it were me, if I were the Prime Minister, I would think, shit, we can't have that one go down. They still haven't said why the fire occurred where it is, but it's really, though, if there were bad people who wanted to do something to screw us completely, there's an oil refinery there that you can just drive up and get into. Like, we should have that protected by our soldiers. Just out, who are you? Why do you need to come onto the refinery? Just in case, because if that goes, we're absolutely buggered. And Australia's at a point right now where we're out of diesel for most places. There's no diesel. There's still some, but not much. The government said they're getting some more in, but it's only another 30 days worth of oil he's talking about getting in. Things are bad here. And, our government should be ashamed of itself for not offering, when asked, what can we do to help?
It'd be jet fuel for you to leave that place in July.
Well, don't laugh. There's been places, flights have been cut. The other day I saw flights have been cancelled left, right and centre here because there's not enough fuel.
Yeah.
So who knows? So, it is what it is. Worst case scenario in regard to that, if anything bad happens, then, I can postpone or something. But, I'd be pissed off though because I want July 4th. But but these things, this is what I mean. It's just really, really bad. Yeah. It's really bad here, and a lot of people aren't even aware. I'm sure Dee is, because Dee watches the news. Tanya, maybe. I think Tanya just likes to watch sexy men on the YouTube. That's right. That's why Tanya tunes in. But yeah, so the world is a crazy place with crazy things happening and some good things happening that people think are crazy. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I just can only hope that it gets better. I don't know. Have you had any earthquakes, Tanya, over in New Zealand as yet? We've had some here, and interestingly enough, in Virginia City, I was talking to Enzo about this through the week. Virginia City had a tremor. Carson City had the earthquake, 5.7 on the Richter scale, and at the same time they were having their earthquake here in Orange, New South Wales, we had a 5.7 on the Richter scale. Very interesting. Maybe the world will just fall apart before we need to worry about anything. I shouldn't laugh. I don't think I'd want to fall down a crater. But, yeah, so I don't know if Tanya or if New Zealand. Normally you hear if New Zealand's had an earthquake because New Zealand does cop some pretty bad ones. But to those lurking in the background, anyone got any questions? There's a few people lurking. We had the odd earthquake. That's all right. Yeah. Right beside the mine in Queensland. When, Dee? I know there was one in Orange in New South Wales, but has there been one here since? Oh, I think that's what Enzo might have brought up. Hang on. I'll remove myself and make Enzo bigger. Hang on. I'm going to... Oh, no, that didn't work. That didn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. I'm playing, guys. Give me a second. Oh, that's no good. Oh, hang on. I'll remove.
Just a black screen. That's the best part. Yeah, sure. New South Wales, when you pointed out from the 14th, which was a 4.5. New Zealand itself, there was one on the 13th, a 4.2 between the two parts there. But north of you, there's been quite a bit of like in the 5.4 category north of New Zealand. So there's certainly a lot where if we zoom out a little bit, you can see the whole ring of fire. That's what they call this going around the Pacific. Plenty of activity going even as far up into the central part of Alaska, deep into California, of course, Hawaii out here in the middle getting some good stuff. That's a 1.8. That's on the small end, but still, it's a lot. Everything's active right now. And so it's important that everyone stay aware.
Yeah. So I'm going to fix it in a minute. I don't know what I've done now, Enzo. I've lost it. God. There we go. There we go. I'm back. Yeah, it is pretty interesting. We've got so much happening. It's almost like every day is a big news day. What
you mentioned earlier around Carson City, it's a little east of there, but there's been a ton of activity out in here east of Carson City.
Yeah,
the last week. This is all 7 days worth.
Well, I did ask my friends living in Virginia City, anything happened there, and they said yes, they felt it, but it was kind of like a wave. But what bothers me most around that part of the country is, and especially Virginia City, is Virginia City's got a honeycomb of mines underneath it.
Right.
So you want to hope that they don't collapse. I mean, I guess they wouldn't. I'm not sure what happens in the end. Some mines, like the ones in town, get filled up at the entrance type thing, but still they go down I'm sure they just fill them up at the front. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that there was a sinkhole once in Virginia City, just near the Mackey Mansion. I've done a little thing on that at some point. I don't know. It's in my history of videos. But yeah, there was a sinkhole, and that's the sinkhole was because that was the opening to the mine one back in the day. They had to refill it and everything. But yeah, what was that? Queensland. I haven't. Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard anything. I'll have to look. The last I heard was the one in Orange. So there you go. I'll have to look.
Yeah,
I didn't hear anything here.
Generally, a lot of these earthquakes originate from very deep in the earth, usually a lot deeper than any kind of mine that we do. Like, for example, that New South Wales one that just happened on the 14th, that was 10 kilometers down.
That's a long way down. They said something about it, though, that it actually cracked something. It cracked. I don't know what they mean by cracked, but it cracked. Normally things just shake, but this time it cracked something. It cracked the layer. So I don't know what that means. It just didn't sound good. I don't want the earth to open up and swallow me.
Yeah. Cracks aren't something you usually like to hear about your environment that you live in. So
no, and that's what they said with that one in Orange, and I'm like, ooh. So I don't know, but look, I'm hoping worldwide everything sort of settles down a little bit. Iran is still being very naughty. I don't know what you're going to do with them. I know what I'd like to
honestly,
do.
I would not expect a whole lot out of them. That's part of their shtick, is to tell, the West whatever it is they want to hear, and then they do whatever it is.
And they do the exact opposite, which they did. That's
how we've come to be so many years into this, since the 70s, when the current group took over. Is they tell inspectors that come in, UN inspectors that would come into the country, hey, show us your nuclear facilities, we want to see this stuff. Oh yes, of course, come in, we'll invite you in, we'll have a party, a whole thing. And when they get there, they refuse an entry into any of the sites.
Yeah,
and they
I reckon
them around for months at a
if
time.
I were president,
have to leave.
If I were president for the day, let's just say I have no morals whatsoever. President for the day, no morals. I would get the person. I would grab the was he the king that got the king prince, the one that the monarchy of Iran, of Persia, okay, because and I would get them, and I would get my army, and I would march my army with them into the capital city of Iran. I would also march my army into where the other bastards are. What are they called? IG something. I don't know. The Iranian something or other army. I'd just mow them all down. Gangster style. Plop the prince there and say, righto, start sparking out your orders. We'll give you a hand on the ground. Anyone messes with you, we'll bop them dead. And that should fix it, but that means boots on the ground. But if it's planned properly, and you just take the prince, put him back, and then say to the Iranian people that are not necessarily Muslims, some of them are Christian, but they have to be Muslim to live there. Say to them, righto, guys, here's your prince. What do we do next? And if anybody's going to stop you from doing this, that, or the other thing, just here's a gun, deal with it. Stuff them. That's what I'd do. Yeah. And then as for the Strait, I'd keep my ships there. And it'd be lovely if NATO would lend a hand.
Who? What?
Far out. It's disgusting. All these countries that say, oh, help us, America. Help us. Please help us. And then the minute America says, hey, look, you don't really need to do anything, but if you could pop a couple of ships out there on the Strait.
Keep an eye on our backside while we're working over here.
Just while we're doing this, and help some of these ships with the oil get through, because you're the one dependent upon that oil. We're not.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Oh, we don't want to get involved. We don't want to get involved. Yeah, that's right. Karen for president,
You're
but
right.
I can't be because I wasn't born in America. But I just sort of think, at some point you just got to stop all these people and all.
If
and all,
the most volatile place on the planet for the last 50 years is where all of your oil and all of your infrastructure is based on is being attacked,
You're
and you
an
don't
idiot.
have some kind of other plan, some kind of alternative to supplement that, that's on you.
Well, well, you should get our country. How's this? Our country, Australia, has enough oil resources that we don't have to buy anything, right? We can be self-sufficient. We've got gas.
And why don't you have any diesel?
Because our government decided, let's get rid of all the refineries because we want to go green. We want to put in all these bloody big fans and we want to go everything solar. So they got rid of all of our ability to be self-sufficient before they thought about forward, like, well, shouldn't we work on that, but still keep being self-sufficient until such a time that someone comes up with an idea that will really, really work and we can just sort of phase it out. But no, they phased it out before they were ready with the green idea. They shut down our different places down in, and I know because I lived down there at the time, a place called, well, I didn't live in Morwell, but I lived near it. We had a power plant there that they shut down, and they should never have shut it down. But they did it because, green, let's go green. The green idea is a lovely fairy tale. That's it. Because it's
a supplement, the way it's designed and all that stuff right now. It's a supplement for a small percentage of your total energy use, which is fine. And I agree with that. We should have been off of fossil fuel stuff a long time ago.
But it needs to be planned.
We aren't yet. You need to incorporate these things slowly. You can't just ignore the primary thing that's keeping your entire country afloat for some solar panels and wind farms. It's not going to work.
And for me, not knowing how long it takes to build a refinery, for me, I mean, someone out there does, but I mean, I don't know if the refineries that were shut down are still there, just a ghost town. I don't know what's involved, but our current government, they're just friggin' idiots. Dangerous frigging idiots that need to go. And, we need someone in place that's going to say, right, like Trump, drill, baby, drill. We've got all of the oil here. We are self-sufficient. This country can look after itself. But instead, we've, for want of a better word, prostituted ourselves to other countries.
Yeah.
And look at the state we're in now because of it. And you can't get any sense out of the pollies because the politicians just go, oh, no, that's not right. Relations.
Obviously, there's something to it if you can't fuel your trucks to deliver food and everything else.
And that's why and there are quite a few, just over the last few weeks, a few trucking companies have shut down business because they can't get diesel. We've got our farmers concerned and worried because they also, just like your country, need that fertilizer for when they harvest.
Fertilizer is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. We haven't got any of it. And the farmers are worried, oh my God, when the crop's ready, if we can't get diesel, we can't get the
fields. Yeah.
And we've got, I think a lot of people go along with their head in the sand. They just go to work during the day, get pissed off because petrol's expensive.
In a perfect world where everybody's happy and everybody cooperates, sure, that's the case. However, that is not the world that we currently live in. When you've got somebody that is going to cause problems, and that's the central nexus of your entire thing, we're keeping your country running.
Well, the other interesting thing, if anybody remembers when Trump was president last time, he said, do not buy oil from Iran. And he gave those orders out and people stopped buying oil from Iran. I don't know where they were getting it from at the time, but he said that. And it actually sent Iran poor. And it did affect them. And I'm thinking, well, okay, America's really lucky. They're self-sufficient with oil. Now that you've got Venezuela extra, Butte, you've got no worries. If Trump fixes Cuba, which he's planning to, That's an added bonus. If he had have been able to get this deal, he might still be able to. But if he can work in with Iran and go some deal with Iran and the oil as well, America doesn't need Iran's oil. We do, because of our stupid government. The UK's just about out of everything, jet fuel and everything. Like Trump, I think people understand just how brilliant this plan is if it works. It actually puts America back as the most powerful place on the planet.
And it's not even about, come to America and get all your stuff. The thing, it's the availability of the very lifeblood of the planet, which is oil. As much as I hate to say that,
the moment. It is until
what we've got. And
yeah,
even if Elon Musk and a bunch of Area 51 scientists all got together and created some totally new power source, that
it's still going to take time to integrate into.
It's going to take 20, 30 years to integrate that to where there's new fuel stations or some kind of aerial thing to where you're getting your energy out of the air, whatever it is, whatever mythical thing that you can dream up. It's going to take a long period of time to do that. So you need both. You need both to still have oil. You can't get rid of the oil because you don't like it, because you think it's dirty and gross, which it is, until you have something to replace it with.
Well, the other thing
solar panels and wind farms ain't it.
No, the only other thing I thought of before, and I'll finish up soon. I don't want to drown everyone. This is just my brain thinking. I was telling Enzo the other day how I wanted to get a solar battery because I've got solar panels on my roof, right? I wanted to get a solar battery. And I thought, well, at least then when there's a blackout or if the grid goes down, I've still got power because I've got solar panels. It might mean at the night time I've got to turn lights off by 9 o'clock, or, that's what I was thinking. So I got a few quotes. Yeah, rip off much. Like 16,000 was the highest quote I got for a battery, right? And I thought, well, I can't afford that. And then I thought, oh, look, I'll see if I can get cheaper quotes. So I got a quote through and it said $10,000. And then there was something in the finer writing saying without $10,000 without a background blackout backup or something, blackout backup. So I wrote to them and I said, because I don't like to talk to people on the phone, it's annoying. And I said, what do you mean? This is my understanding of getting a battery. This is what my understanding is. If there's a blackout, if the power grid goes down because of a car accident or overuse or whatever, won't affect me because I've got a battery and my house will still run. Got an answer back saying only if you have the blackout protection, and even then, no, the whole house can't run on it. It would be wired to a designated power point in the house, so you'd have power to charge your phone or whatever. I'm like, what? No, what's the point of having this? What? So they basically no. That's what he told me. He said, "That's it. That's here in Australia." I don't know about America, but here in Australia.
For someone that's building a miniature version of that for my van, is what it is everything like in my van, for example. And you can upgrade that to a house where everything runs off of a battery. What charges the battery? You can do solar. You can plug it into the grid. All of these, there's options there. If you want to keep your battery charged so that it supplies the power for everything in your home, or in my case, the van. And so, but you have to look at how much power do you actually use, which that's going to depend on the size of your battery and how quickly that battery can be recharged over a period of time. So there's a little math involved, but it's super basic, third grade level math. It's not, high extreme physics type math, where you just need to do the math to figure out, because you can buy a suitcase size 48 volt battery for your home, which should, where it's a problem is when the really high draw items like your air conditioning for your house, that sucks up a lot of juice. if you're going to have like big screen TVs and things like that, that's going to
Mm.
suck up a lot of juice. But for
Well,
just
the,
keeping
the
like your phones charged and the lights on, that's
well, the
actually
size
kind
of
of
the
low.
batteries were from my understanding, the size of the battery, like massive. I have to have it on the outside of the house. They're big batteries. He said, "How many solar panels have you got?" And I said, "I've got 12.5 watts of. I've got 2 lots of 6. Like I've got 12 point something or other watts of solar panels. I think that's how it works." And he goes, "Righto, so you need this battery." And that's enough that you can draw on that overnight. Like it'll charge your battery up overnight. And I'm like, "Oh, cool." So therefore, if I have a blackout, if I can draw on the battery overnight to use my power and not the grid, then when the power goes out, hello? Like I should still be able to at least have the fridge plugged in, keep the internet running or whatever. But they said no. So I thought I'll stick that up your ass because they still want you to be connected to the grid.
Well, and of course, and that's their angle, and they're going to give you whatever their plan is, which is it's like anything else. If you were to build it yourself or get someone that
someone you could do it. But the problem is you've got to be so I'm thinking, well, if the government got rid of that you have to be connected to the grid, instead of encouraging people, right, well, you can be connected to the grid or you can have your house completely solar generating what it needs. It might mean that you need to have a roof full of the bloody things, whatever, but you should be able to.
Yeah.
All right. And thus, if every new house built was sufficient to run on solar panels and not necessarily have to be connected, then that frees up energy in the grid to power, other things. You wouldn't, but just make every house self-sufficient. But they don't want to do that because then it's money. The same with
they don't make any money off of you if you're charging yourself. You're not getting anything.
So it is what it is.
It is possible, and it is possible for way cheaper than what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
I was doing some research this past week about for my van, a battery that would be about 8.5 kilowatt hours would run me about $800.
Yeah.
And I would need, because it's the van, I would have electrical wiring it for solar, which I could probably get around 600 watts of solar panels on the roof of my van, which is not going to top off that large of a battery, like in 24 hours, during the sunlight hours, even during the summer. But it's going to take a chunk out of it. I also have a thing that runs off of the alternator of my vehicle, of the actual engine, which runs on gasoline. But when I'm driving from one point to another, it's sending 800 watts of power to that battery just from driving, plus whatever the solar can generate, which
well, that's the beauty of having those batteries, because you can travel around. So but yeah, that's what I mean. They just get you. They just get you. So and that's funny too here with those quotes that I got. That was weird because the government, which ends at the end of May here in Australia, the government has offered up a $6,000 subsidy to me. So if I purchase a battery, the government gives me $6,000 towards it. Sounds great, especially on the quotes I got, right? No, the quotes include that. And I'm like, who's making money here? Like, that's ridiculous. The
problem that, and we're seeing that in the U.S. where, because a lot of people have done exactly that. They've gotten that. They're getting this $6,000 summary or to supplement for their money every year, where they don't have to worry about it because it's supplemented. That supplement's going to run out eventually, where they can't afford to either pay it or they can't do whatever. So now you've got to make that money up somehow every month. So it's an issue.
Well,
none of the things that we're talking about are cheap. by the way.
No, and that's where the government is here cutting it off at the end of May. There'll be no more supplements. It was an incentive for people to get a battery in their home. But the problem was the batteries. So, oh yes, Karen, $16,000. Okay, and then I get $6,000 off with the subsidy. Oh no, that includes. So that means
that's ridiculous.
that was 20-something thousand. I'm like, what? And then the other quote, same thing. Oh, it'll be $10,000. And I said, okay, is that with or without the government subsidy? Oh, that's with it. Otherwise, it'd be $16,000. I'm like, look, there's no way a solar battery is worth that. My panels didn't cost that much.
A battery is kind of a battery. I mean, there's like the 12-volt, lead acid battery you have in your car. That's not going to work. It's not going to last for very long. So you need a much beefier, different battery chemistry. You need a LiFePO, what they call a LiFePO battery, which is a lithium iron phosphate battery, which is designed to fill up quickly and then discharge quickly and then be able to fill back up quickly again, like with solar or whatever, the following day. So the idea would be that your house runs off of that battery, whatever that battery is.
But that's the thing too, just like your solar panels and your solar battery, they've got a life expectancy of 10 to 15 years. The battery itself,
that's about right.
10. I know that in, 10 years time, I'll have to get new solar panels, but hopefully in 10 years time, we'll have nuclear power and I can just say, no, don't worry about it. But I won't hold my breath.
That's a slight exaggeration, but for sure, 10 years from now, there'll be something a little bit better. And you would still have, like you say, you would still have to replace all of that stuff.
Yeah.
For
So
probably about the same price or similar to every 10 years.
Yeah.
The system I have, it's designed for it has so many cycles in it where the battery system I have for the van today is if it were to be 100% discharged down to 0 and then recharged back up to 100%, that's one cycle.
Oh.
And I think mine's good for like 5,000 or 6,000 cycles. So basically it's like if I were to discharge it from 100% to 0 every day for about, I think it's like 8 or 9 years, which in most cases that's never going to happen, that you would totally discharge it there. But that's what it is. So that's where that cycle thing comes. And even at the end of that 10 years or whatever it is, where you've cycled it 6,000 times, discharging and recharging every day, it's only it loses about 20% of its total capacity because it kind of gets worn out. We'll say it will still work, but it just won't hold as much energy. So it's not like you're going to suddenly at the 10-year mark on the calendar, it's going to totally fail.
No,
it's just not going to be as efficient. So,
all right. Well, on that note, talking about power and running out of steam, I'm ready for lunch. Jonathan, it's lovely to see you. For those who have come in at the end, Enzo and I did discuss the good news that Donald Trump has signed an executive order to get the use of a drug that can help you, basically cure you, really, of your PSTD. I call it post-traumatic stress.
Yes.
I'm tired. I'm getting tired. And also help people with addictions to opioids and stuff. Get basically 2 treatments of this particular drug will help you. So that'll be great. And we discussed the missing scientists and the oddities around that. We discussed mind control. Well, sort of. What do you call it? The
discombobulator. Which basically scrambles the neurons in your brain.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff, but yeah. So if you're interested, go back and do a little rewatch of what you might have already missed. And I guess that's it. Anything you wanted to add in, Si? I don't know.
Nope, I think we covered it.
No. I will just say that Dee did find some information for me. Yes, the Earth did crack on the border of South Australia and the Northern Territory. So there you go. So maybe Queensland will float off on its own somewhere, Enzo. So yeah, please, everybody watching, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up on the live, it doesn't cost you anything and it helps me a little bit. And if you're not subscribed, think of that too. That's always helpful. And yeah, Enzo and I should be back next week, same time, same back channel. I've gone earlier now because, yeah, I think I mentioned this last week that Enzo was like, oh, what time now type of thing. And I'm like, all right, 9 o'clock my time every Sunday. So there you go. So no more sleeping in, D. All right, guys, look, thank you so much. And yeah, subscribe and like, and do rewatch if you're interested in finding out more about what the President of America has just done, which is a really good thing if it all pans out beautifully. So have a wonderful Sunday, a wonderful Saturday night, and a good week to come. And I'll talk to you all next week, if not before. Bye.